Welcome back to Lotus on Track here at the legendary Spa circuit. We've got the combined grid here from Lotus Cup Europe and Lotus Cup UK. It's Gavin Kershaw leading the race with Mark Fullilove in second, then a super battle for third between the brothers John and Gregory Rass. Behind them, just about everybody else has found somebody to play with. We've got a fantastic race in prospect with all of the classes well represented. The production class having a very fine squabble. The 211s and the exiges are locked in battle, as we're seeing here. Marcus Jewell just trying to put a little bit of daylight between himself and the hard charging pack behind, being headed up at the moment by the 74 Lotus Europa of Campbell Cassidy and Matt Sherrington. The unusual looking car there is the 340R. It's David Harvey, and David again putting together a very good account of himself this weekend, just ahead of Dennis van den Sarvel. Van den Sarvel we saw just before the break being overtaken and camera car by Greg Zechka. Here we are in the battle for third position in car with John Rass chasing down his brother Gregory Rass and looking to the inside, in fact into the chicane. Is he going to go through here? Does Gregory see him in time? Well, they run through side by side. We don't get the synchronised sliding this time. Instead, we get John Rass trying to get the switchback manoeuvre on Gregory Rass. However, Gregory, with the power of the Evora, should move away from the exige as they accelerate on towards the hairpin at the source. Moving down through the gears. Are we going to see the challenge? Excellent camera shot from the inside of the source. Yes, we are, because running wide and just scrubbing off the speed is Gregory Rass. And that is an early Christmas present, I think, for John Rass from his brother, because he just gave him that position. But the Evora looking to squeeze the exige down towards Eau Rouge. However, they charge through, and at the moment at least it's John Rass who is up into third position in pursuit of that man, Gavin Kershaw, who leads the race. We pan across through the forest to find the second place man, Mark Fullilove. Here is the fight for third, and Gregory Rass is looking to the inside of John Rass as they arrive into Les Combes, but no, around the outside, John Rass holds on. And he's now going to try and use the superior cornering speed of the little exige to drive away from the Evoras through the twisty bits. But then likewise, Gregory is going to be using the power at his disposal to try and reel in the exige wherever possible. Greg Zechka is having a very lively race as he accelerates long towards Les Combes. He's just in behind David Harvey. Harvey goes defensive. Zechka looks to the outside. Might just be able to find his way through. No, David Harvey carrying the extra corner speed through. And really with David, we've seen a remarkable upturn in form. Mid-season, he shared that car with Ollie Webb at Snetterton Lotus Cup UK, and Ollie, single-seater driver, gave David a few tips, and since then David has been absolutely flying. This is the lead for the production class. Steve Quick and Rob Austin at various angles of attack into Les Combes. This is what we want to see. It's just Steve Quick who maintains the lead as David Harvey continues to have that buffer over Greg Zechka. Watch the pack stream through. What can Zechka do? We've got the yellow flag, somebody recovering, having had a little bit of an adventure, but no problems for him. I think it was Jean-Pierre Genou-Prachet it was who we saw recovering. Production leaders have already been and gone, and then it's Axel Mertens who heads up the next train of cars. Mertens, who's had reasonably strong 2011 season. He's being chased by Stuart Plotneck, who we did see on the podium earlier this year. Lotus on Track Elise Trophy at Alton Park. Gavin Kershaw, former Lotus test driver, and this race for him is turning into a bit of an extended test session. He has been very much the class of the field thus far. He's been able to build out a reasonably comfortable advantage over Mark Fullilove as this group of 211s heads into view, headed up by Philippe Loop. He's got Simon Deacon and Marcus Jewell right in his tail. Simon Deacon, Marcus Jewell, two of the real stars of the Lotus Cup UK, and it's great to see them this weekend pitting their wits against the drivers from the Lotus Cup Europe as Jewell looks to the inside of Deacon and is going to go through. Very nicely judged manoeuvre there from Marcus Jewell. Gets on the power nice and early as we go back in car with Greg Zechka as he's onto the tail of Herbert Metzger, and he's going to go past the exige of Metzger. Zechka to the outside, Metzger to the inside. Now are we going to see Herbert reappear? No, we're not. The move completed with plenty of time to spare there by Greg Zechka, but really quite pleased with that one. That was very nicely judged, although he has got the 14 car of Rolf Feuerhaus coming in onto his tail, back to lead in the production class, and it's still Steve Quick from Rob Austin, Ken Savage and Ben Highland. Particularly, this has been really smart driving from Ken Savage. He's biding his time, letting Austin and Quick fight it out, and then just looking after his tyres, because this is a 40-minute race, let's not forget, and there's still plenty of time for Ken Savage to make his move. The production class given us such wonderful entertainment throughout the 2011 season. This really has proved to be one of their best races, certainly with the Lotus Cup UK, although some of the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy races have been absolutely breathtaking. They accelerate through Eau Rouge and climb up towards Les Gommes. Quick is going very defensive very early. Shades of the Schumacher Hill battle from 95 here, because Steve Quick was right to the inside of the circuit, then jinking across to claim the racing line. Rob Austin glued into his slipstream, with them Ben Hyland and Ken Savage still not too far adrift. And that group of cars as well is closing on to this man, Tom Chataway, in his 211. Oh, here they come down the hill into the right-hander. Still Steve Quick, just from Rob Austin, and then Ben Hyland and Ken Savage. Ken Savage, for me, is still the man to watch in that group, because he is using far less track and working his tyres quite as hard. Jean-Baptiste Mersnier back up to the head of the field, sort of having a little bit of a moment earlier on in the race. No such problems there as Philippe Loup and Simon Deacon arrive on the brakes. Philippe Loup again going defensive, an early turn in there from Philippe Loup. That could give Deacon an opportunity, because Philippe Loup got that all wrong. We'll find out in due course whether he picked his way through, because it's once more side by side between the Ras brothers, and now Gregory Ras goes back into third position. So Gregory in the white of Aura once more able to reclaim the spot from the orange exige of John Ras, but has another big twitch. So John Ras says, "I'll look to the outside." No way through just there. The Avora's quite a wide car, which isn't helping John Ras in his efforts to improve his position up through the field as we go three abreast. It's Nigel Ayres to the inside. Greg Noble is the man I don't envy. He is bang in the middle of that little lot. And then it's Dan Plant to the outside. It's Nigel Ayres who prevails, at least at the apex. Are they then going to go three abreast down the hill towards Eau Rouge? Not quite. This is always precision display driving through these three drivers, because they are in every possible circumstance trying to go side by side or three abreast. And it's Dan Plant who eventually moves into the head of the group of cars from Nigel Ayres and then Greg Noble. But then Noble fights back around the outside of Eau Rouge. Brilliant stuff from Greg Noble as Ken Savage goes third in the production class. It's Rob Austin who's lost out. He's been shuffled into fourth. Still Steve Quick who leads it, with Ben Hyland in second, then Savage into third position. No change through the first of the left-handers. Remy Pochavain squeezing somewhat Jean-Baptiste Mersnier into the source. He gives Jean-Baptiste Mersnier an exige's worth of space, so he goes through, and then they fan out down the hill towards Eau Rouge, and Pochavain looking to fight back around the outside of Mersnier, but Mersnier having none of that. Maintains the place despite a little twitch through Eau Rouge, with then Steve Williams, next car on through. Wherever you look around the course, there's battles going on. Laurent Febvre here just ahead of the recovering Gavin Kirby and then David Harvey, so they're having a good little tussle. Here they come down the hill, and Gavin Kirby's going to challenge Febvre into Eau Rouge, is he? Well, he'd certainly like to, but Laurent Febvre able to just about cover the racing line. Gavin Kirby may, however, be able to launch himself as they accelerate on toward Les Gommes, because he really hadn't got the exit. So he looked down the straight. Is it going to be the silver car or the green one that homes into view first of all? And it is going to be the silver car of Gavin Kirby, which takes the place away from Laurent Febvre. Also, Jean-Pierre Genu-Praché is coming up through the pack as well, as Xavier Georges just closes in onto the tail of the Europa. Campbell Cassidy and Matt Cherrington, given the performance of the car in this race, expected to probably Matt at the wheel at the moment. Still the battles raging behind, although slipping down the field just a little bit there is number 12 car of Herbert Metzger. I just wonder if Herbert might have a slight issue, as Gavin Kershaw is already into the back markers. He's just gone past this fantastic scrap we've got amongst other production cars, as still Greg Noble and Nigel Ayres side by side. They'll be swapping stories about this race over the Leffe long into the night, I'd imagine, because they have been giving the crowd here some great entertainment, and more importantly, they've been enjoying themselves thoroughly, which is really what it's all about, as they squeeze through after a fashion at the source. Here's Mark Fullerlove in a fairly comfortable second position. The ex-British Touring Car Championship racer has been in a very fine turn of form throughout the course of this season. This weekend at Spa proving to be no exception. Now this is going to be a challenge for Gavin Kershaw, because he's coming onto the tail of these groups of production class cars, which are considerably slower than the Evora, but having a fantastic fight amongst themselves. Therefore he's just going to have to be a little bit careful as we ride through Eau Rouge with John Ras, who didn't lift, did he? He was listening to his engine though, And so Ras is maximum attack in pursuit of his brother Gregory. Steve Tranter gets himself involved in that battle in the 149 car. Here comes Gregory Ras with John Ras again trying to close in onto his tail. This is the fight they're going to come onto the tail of. It's Dan Plant just leading the way from Nigel Ayres, Steve Tranter, Greg Noble and the rest of them. It's going to be Mark Fullerlove who gets the first bite at this particular cherry. So he's going to try and find his way around 6 or so cars as we go back to the production class, and Steve Quick has just made the jump on Ben Hyland, Ken Savage and Rob Austin, who move down through the gears on the brakes and into and out of the bus stop chicane at the end of the lap. No positional changes there, they all close up with each other with that invisible piece of string, which then extends as they accelerate on towards the hairpin at the source, which feels a little bit less foreboding since the work Spa did to widen the start and finish straight. It really has turned the source into a reasonable overtaking opportunity rather than one that was a little bit dicey, as we see there with Rob Austin going through and gaining the place. But still, this plunge down the hill towards the compression where you just enter Eau Rouge and then begin that very steep climb uphill. This is one of the reasons why the drivers come here. And Rob Austin, is that a problem there? He was smoking a little bit on arrival into the corner. Replay of Simon Deacon. Feeling a little bit boo probably there, Deacon. Quick spin, but no problems. As look at this, the third place battle. Gregory Ras trying to weave between these production class cars, which he manages to do. Does he get the car stopped in time at the source? Just about, although Nigel Ayres won't thank him for that because he slips down several positions in car with John Ras as we go to the right. And we go further to the right, and then we go to the left, and he manages to clear all those cars and goes back into pursuit of Gregory Ras as they descend en masse into Eau Rouge. We're going for a break. We're back here, Lotus on Track at Spa in a couple of moments' time.